All right, everybody, welcome to your first video on responsive design. Um, this is going to be the first video of a few, and we're going to start to take our CSS knowledge and start to be able to adapt it to different device sizes, right? The first thing we're going to talk about is the idea that there's 4 different types of layouts that we could possibly have: fixed, fluid, adaptive, and responsive. Okay. So if you go to Training Kit, scroll down, you're going to find the fixed versus fluid versus adaptive versus responsive article here. I think this is a fantastic article that really lays everything out for us really well. So let's check out the article and let's see what we've got. Let's talk about it real quick, why we care about responsive design at all. This is even an old infographic here. 55% of consumers using mobile to research want to purchase within the hour. It's all of these mobile numbers are probably dramatically higher now. I think this infographic is from like 2015. 67% of users are more likely to purchase a product or service from a mobile-friendly site. 48% of users feel frustrated and annoyed when they get to a site that's not mobile-friendly. I want to say that 48 should be doubled. Should probably be 96% of users. I don't know about you, but I hate getting to a site that's not optimized for a mobile screen. 61% of users quickly move on to another site, which again, I think is much higher if they don't find out what they're looking for on a mobile site. So, we have these numbers and we're just have this growing sector of use cases where users are using mobile more than they're using a desktop, more than they're using anything. And this doesn't just say mobile. We can talk about tablets, we can talk about watches, we can talk about refrigerators, we can talk about whatever you can view a website through, right? Back in the old days, we have the choice of a 15 or 17-inch CRT monitor, and you can make one site and it would look decent on both, right? But now we have thousands and thousands of different size screens that we need to use. So this entire time, we have been building fixed website layouts. And a fixed website layout is just that. When we say width of 800, that box or that container is always going to be 800 pixels, no matter what. If you view that on a mobile screen, you're going to have what I call the horizontal scroll bar of doom. You don't want to ever have a horizontal scroll bar. So let's go through real quick and let's see an example of that. Got a little bit of HTML here. We've got some basic stuff. I'm going to copy paste some CSS just for the container here, and we can see what a fixed site looks like. Cool. This is what we've got. It looks decent. Looks pretty good, right? Of course, I could use some more styling, etc. But it's centered. It's got some good padding, everything. And it looks great on my laptop screen here. Let's see if we get down to, I would even say a tablet, which is, that tends to be 768. Let's go to 800, or let's go to 790. 7 something. There's our tablet size screen right there. Now look, if I want to view that whole box, I've got that horizontal scroll bar there. And this is just bad, right? This is bad design. You don't want to use that. And say let's go to 320, which is an iPhone SE. You have a long scroll bar. What if you had something all the way over here? The user has to keep going back and forth and back and forth. This is super frustrating, and it's just bad UI, right? And so this is fixed. This is fixed CSS. And back in the day, like I said, we didn't need to do anything else, right? We only needed to make it look good for one size screen. So then we're like, okay, if we don't hard code our pixel width in, what do we do? Up next comes Fluid. Now, Fluid is taking everything from fixed and flipping that on its head, right? Now, instead of having hard-coded pixel sizes in there, we don't have any hard-coded pixel sizes. And we're going to do that using percentages. So we'll say, I'm just going to say 90% for this. Then I'm going to add left and right padding on there, 1%. Now we've got 90%, and now no matter what size screen we're on, it's going to look good, right? Well, it's going to look better, much better. until we get to the point where the content overruns the screen. But it's gonna move very fluidly depending on the screen size. Now you're like, cool, done, problem solved. Like we're all good. We don't need to worry about anything else. Unfortunately, so the issues that you run into when you've got a fixed layout, or a fluid layout, excuse me, is that you have one set of styling rules for every screen. And just like that, when we got down to it, our content overran our screen here, and we don't get the horizontal scroll back, but our content overran the screen. Now, this is saying that everybody on desktop should be using the same exact style and the same exact buttons and the same exact thing as everybody on mobile, and that's just not the case, right? You'll notice that when you go to a mobile site, it looks a lot different than a desktop site, and even though that might be the same exact CSS, okay? So coming in next, we have our adaptive layout. And adaptive is kind of introducing a cool new idea for us in that it's something called media breakpoints. And so this is going to allow us to write CSS based on the size of the screen. Not just this 90%, but we could say at this screen size, we want it to be 90%, and at this screen size, we want it to be 20%. Or at this screen size, look, you can see it here, we want these boxes to be stacked vertically, and at this screen size, at mobile, we want them to be stacked horizontally. Okay, so now you can start making different rules for different screen sizes in your same CSS file. So a really quick and we're going to get into media queries in the next video, but I just wanted to demonstrate it. You'll see that we have got our regular 800 pixels still. You're like, whoa, isn't that fixed? And you're like, yeah, it is. And adaptive is fixed based on the screen size. So now we can see screen size is up to 500, where you're going to have a width of 500. All right. So now we can see that when we go down, you're going to see it snap. Not that top part. Let's get rid of that top. That's all CodePen because they're on a fully responsive site. Oh, let's go. Let's kind of get rid of that a little bit. And now let's see at 500, it'll snap to our new styles. Boom, right? So now we have different set of styling for screens 500 and under, okay? So this is considered an adaptive, and it is fixed, right? It's fixed, but then it changes based on your screen size, okay? So you're like, well, but it looks horrible between 800 and 500, right? We've got that horizontal scroll bar back. And, that's great that we can, change the layout a little bit. And, it looks a lot better on a mobile size screen there, but still, between these certain breakpoints, it doesn't look great. And that's where our final layout comes into play. And that is fully responsive CSS. So responsive takes every single piece. It takes fixed, it takes fluid, it takes adaptive, and it combines them together. So it takes the mobile breakpoints of adaptive and then puts some fluid items in it so that they can grow and stretch within that breakpoint. And then when it gets to the next one, it'll change that and it'll be more fluid based on that. Okay. And then why we say fixed is because these breakpoints have a set, a set pixel width. And also you tend to start out your main container with a set pixel width as well. So just real quick, and like I said, we're going to get deeper into this stuff. This is just a quick demonstration of the difference between fixed, fluid, adaptive, and responsive. Now you're going to see we've got some percentages here, and so we're going to start to get a bit better. There we go. And still no horizontal scroll bar. And now it still looks good all the way through. And it still changes at our 500 pixel mark, right? But we're not getting that like awful, and fair warning, this isn't the best UI in the world, but we're not getting, it doesn't look horrible between those breakpoints, right? Between that 800 and that 500. It's fluid between those breakpoints, but yet fixed in that it's still 800 max width. And like I said, we'll get much deeper into it. But that is the difference between fixed, fluid, adaptive, and responsive. Go read that article. It's really great. Play around with it, and I'll see you in the next video.